Hello and welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be something a little different. As you can see here, I have two oddly modified screwdrivers, and that's my take on addressing these ever popular pry bars, pocket pry bars, screwdrivers, or combat flatheads, and various things that are being marketed for crazy amounts of money. And don't get me wrong, some of them are probably pretty good. But the issue I have is, at the end of the day, it's still a screwdriver. It's still a basic pry bar. And you can go to Harbor Freight, you can go to Home Depot, and you can get these tools for cheap. I don't need to spend multiple hundreds of dollars because it's made out of who knows what fancy steel. At the end of the day, if I use it the way that I intend to, probably I'm going to damage it. Probably I'm going to cause some issues. And so I decided to make my own with basic, readily available screwdrivers that you can get from Harbor Freight, Home Depot, and Lowe's. The baseline here on these started off as Craftsman whatever screwdrivers that are currently available. I believe these ones were from Lowe's, and you can get them for $3 to $10. Both of these were on sale, and so I got them for a fraction of full price. And then this one, ironically, I was using it as intended with the long nylon grip on it, and the handle broke. And I was like, okay, I can't take it in and get it replaced, and they'll warranty it, and they'll hand me a new one. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? The handle broke anyway. I'm going to give this a go, and I'll carry it with me in a pocket or in my satchel, wherever I'm at, and have them with me. See how useful they really are, and still not spend $325 for a Dynamis Combat Flathead. Don't get me wrong, it's still cool, it's neat, but I'm not dropping that kind of coin. So this was the first one I did. It started off as a 10-inch, 3/8-inch flathead from Craftsman, and then you have the handle, so it gets quite a bit longer. This one is the 7-inch 5/16 flathead from Craftsman, and again it has the blue and red nylon grip handle here at the back. And this one I did intentionally cut the grip off, and then I rewrapped it and adjusted it for use. Now, you're not going to get the same kind of torque as you would having the full-size grip. However, the full-size grip broke, so I wanted to work with it and see what it would really hold up to. And I have used this little sucker here more times than I ever thought I would. And I'm not putting torque onto the various tools inside of my Leatherman Wave here. And don't get me wrong, the Leatherman Wave is fantastic, but I'll give you an example. That happened because it stuck into a electrical connection. I was adjusting a breaker, and yeah, it zapped. Thankfully, it kicked out the primary breaker, and I didn't get hurt, but that was a shocking experience, and not particularly fun. So anyway, these can take more torque than the tools and implements that come on these multi-tools we have. And then, if you need more torque, what's great about these, because they do have the square shank, you can either put a wrench on there, or lock it down in. It fits right in the main standard plier area, and you can torque on that far more than even if it had the standard grip on there. So that's a worthwhile factor for me. The larger one here, I needed to break a lock off. I hammered that end. I just shoved it down in the face of the lock, struck it on the back with a hammer, twisted, broke the lock and did what I had to, and got the tire free. Point being, it did the job. And yeah, I chipped the coating on it, but you know what? I really don't care. At the end of the day, I put it together to use it as it is. What I ended up doing for the grip was taking the 12-gauge black annealed wire that they also sell as fence wire. You can find it in Lowe's and Home Depot, Harbor Freight in bulk, whatever you want. And so I measured a little over a 4-inch section and a single layer wrap of the wire up here to the back, and you can see that it tapers down because I didn't put the tape all the way down. And then I started a little higher beyond the wire and went beyond the wire up here, but I left the back free as a strike point and wrapped it in T700 3M tape, glorified electrical tape. With this one, same thing. You can see where I took the wire and you can see the pattern underneath there. And I wrapped it on tight. And then I wrapped it in some T700. So it's a really good, nicely textured grip. Obviously, like I said, it's not going to be as good as having the full-size nylon grip. But you can still get a lot of torque with this. And if that's not sufficient, grip it with a pair of pliers from your multi-tool, which is designed to take rotational torque. And you can do a lot with these. This one is super pocketable, and I've been carrying this one now for a few months. Yes, again, I could replace both of them, not a problem, but they're working great. They do the job I need them to, and instead of getting the Combat Flathead, well, here's the Combat Flathead at home, and all for around $5, and I use them every single day. So why not? Now, if you feel like dropping the coin on the proper tool and saying, hey, I got a fancy whatever and it's got a Kydex sheath and leather-wrapped handle, be my guest. But for the rest of us, that we just want a tool that we're not going to feel bad using, whether it be for prying the usual screwdriver tasks, tightening and opening because it still works, it does exactly what you want it to. This is a perfect, easy to shove in the pocket, lightweight, little bit of grip handle weight on there just because of the wire, but that's intentional. This one, you can see where I used it to hammer in a nail, and it has a good weight to it. But it does the job that I want it to. And if I break one of these or completely wreck it, I'll just take it in and get it replaced under warranty after removing my little modification and start over from scratch for a few bucks. And at the end of the day, I'm not going, well, it's a, $100 tool and worrying about snapping off one of the standard implements. I'm going to use this thing. I have a screwdriver function. I have a reasonably good pry function, chisel function, because all of us have used a flathead screwdriver at some point to chisel with. And I can get the job done and not worry about the fact that I have a $300+ Combat Flathead that I would be worried about breaking. Theoretically, they're warrantied, but then I've also seen that some of the models are discontinued. So if you do get it replaced, are you going to get the same model again? Are they going to reforge one? What's the deal? So here you go. For a few bucks, you can do it. And I use them all the time. Okay, I'm not telling you that this is the end-all be-all, but it's a great function. And this thing has been with me quite a few places now. The weird coating can chip, but it's held up just fine. This one isn't chipped yet, but I'm sure it'll hit that point. I leave the back clear, so I have an open strike point, and I can hammer it, use it to strike with, whatever, and it does the job. So there you go. That right there, Combat Flathead at home. Cheap, simple, effective, and shockingly useful. And if you want to shove it in a bag, drop it in your pocket, whatever, make a sheath for it, do whatever you like. But for a few bucks, you have something that's genuinely useful, and you don't have to spend a fortune.